Welcome to the Campbell Museums. A mundane object, like a film camera, has many stories it can tell. In this video, I explored just a few of these stories. You can think of this video as the abridged history behind film cameras. This video is part of our What's in a Box series, where I pull a box from storage and see what we find inside. So check out the box number 3 playlist for more. Please like this video and subscribe to our YouTube channel to show us some love. You can also support the Campbell Museums by becoming a member. Have you heard the story of the sun and the moon? The story goes that there is a dispute between the sun, who is male, and the moon, who is female, to illuminate the sky. After a fight where the moon proves to be as strong as the sun, they agree in sharing the duty, one during the day and the other during the night. While short and sweet, this story holds in it a message of sex equality and cooperation between the sexes. Storytelling is universal and unique, as far as we know, to the human experience. So let's explore the history behind storytelling and how our camera fits in. Stories can be told through many mediums, orally, visually, or written. Language is a uniquely human ability, and as spoken language has developed, so has oral storytelling through methods like poems, chants, rhymes, and songs. The earliest evidence of visual storytelling is through cave paintings, with the oldest evidence of narrative art dating to almost 44,000 years ago. Eventually, these stories were put down in writing. The earliest evidence of a written fictional story is the Epic of Gilgamesh, written over 4,000 years ago. You can learn a lot from a story. Stories can help us see how others think and feel, share survival information, perpetuate cultural beliefs, and document historical events. Today, one of the most effective storytelling devices is recorded sound and images, also known as movies. For the last 100 years, storytelling through cinema has been one of the most successful and widespread methods for modern-day storytelling. No single person invented cinema. The invention of movies is a result from the invention of photography, which is explored in our episode on cameras, so check that out in our Box 3 playlist. In 1891, the Edison Company demonstrated the first device to show moving pictures, the kinetoscope. The kinetoscope enabled one person at a time to view moving pictures. The viewer looked through an eyepiece at the top of the machine. The film, initially about 20 seconds in length, ran through the mechanism in a continuous loop. Not much time for storytelling. Instead, these early films were often popular vaudeville performers. The kinetoscope was quickly outcompeted by the Lumiere brothers and their The kinetoscope was quickly outcompeted by the Lumiere brothers and their cinematograph. I don't know if I said that right. Which was a camera, a projector, and a film printer all in one. In December of 1895 in Paris, France, the brothers publicly screened their first moving pictures, and the public wanted more. By 1900, storytelling, or narrative, became the dominant form for movies. Early films were still quite short, sometimes only a few minutes. And while movies of this era are often called silent films, they were usually accompanied by live music. In 1915, the first American feature-length film was released, Birth of a Nation. It was 3 hours long. This production was pioneering in using film as a tool for storytelling. Unfortunately, I think it is quite illuminating that this nation's first feature-length narrative movie was a story of racism. It'll be worth it. The story in Birth of a Nation is based on the lost cause of the Confederacy, which is an American pseudo-historical ideology. Big words, I know. Pseudo-historical means to distort or misrepresent the historical record, often using methods resembling those used in legitimate historical research. The pseudo-historical lost cause ideology advocates the belief that the cause of the Confederate States during the American Civil War was a just and heroic one. The Confederates won with the pen and the noose what they did not win on the battlefield, the cause of white supremacy and the dominant understanding of what the war was all about. In the attempt to deal with their defeat, Southerners created an image of the Civil War that was not about slavery, but about states' rights. This lost cause ideology persists to this day. The story told in Birth of a Nation celebrated the Confederates and portrayed African Americans as either childlike individuals with limited mental abilities or depraved creatures who lusted after young white women. Upon release, the Black community, along with sympathetic white people, found the film deeply offensive. Throughout the country, the Black community filed petitions, appealed legislatures, picketed theaters, and organized protest marches in an effort to ban the film. Despite the protests, The Birth of a Nation was a huge commercial success and profoundly influenced American culture. The film has been acknowledged as an inspiration for the rebirth of the Ku Klux Klan that same year. Our town of Campbell did not have a movie theater when Birth of a Nation was released, but theaters in neighboring towns were showing the movie. This ad is from San Jose in 1916. To round out our very abridged look at early film history, the advent of sound in the 1930s gave rise to the so-called Golden Age of Hollywood. During this time, cinema was extremely popular, with people often attending the cinema twice a week. To this day, movies remain one of humanity's favorite methods for storytelling. Our object predates this golden age of Hollywood and puts storytelling through film into the hands of the masses. In 1923, the Cine Kodak Film Camera was put on the market, and 2 years later, our camera, the Model B, was released, and it was in production through 1931. The Cine Kodak is of note because it was the first film camera meant for amateur movie making. According to a 1927 Kodak ad marketing amateur film, amateur meant no makeup, no tripod, no scents, no properties rented, no artificial light, and virtually no cost. More specifically, amateur films can be divided into 3 forms: home movies, narrative movies, and experimental. Basically, these are films that are made without the support of a studio, professional training, or equipment. This camera was all you needed. According to the 1925 brochure for our Model B camera, there are movies all around you waiting to be made. Every season, fall, winter, spring, or summer, your favorite sports, local events, local scenarios, town topics, portrait close-ups, travelogues, hunting adventures, and last but certainly not least, the children. As you probably deduced, our camera did not record sound, so all these movies were silent. Created by the Eastman Kodak Company, the Cine Kodak used 16mm film and opted for safety film instead of celluloid. And you can watch our episode on celluloid to find out why safety film was a wise choice for broad consumer use. While this camera was more affordable than its professional predecessors, it cost $70. So this camera for the masses was really only practical for the wealthy. Storytelling is a powerful tool for creating a communal experience. A good story will make you think, it'll make you feel, and it will teach you. Regardless of the medium, oral, written, or visual, we are all consumers of stories, following a long tradition that goes back to the origin of mankind. From ancient artwork in caves, to Hollywood movies, to TikTok videos on your phone, the stories we tell shape how we view ourselves and shape the world we live in. Mundane objects can contain big stories, and this camera had a lot to say. What other stories might it tell? Thanks for watching, and please consider supporting us by liking this video, subscribing to our channel, and becoming a member of the Campbell Museums.